Okay, it looks like we're safe to go ahead and get started. So this month's webinar is going to be LegFi 101 Essential Tips for New Officers. I'm going to try to keep it as quick as possible for you guys. And the easiest way to think about what this webinar will be, like, it is the basics or like the bare bones of LegFi that you're going to need to know if you're an incoming officer. So if you're a chapter that's new to LegFi, or you're a new officer, or you just want to prepare and get these tips for when you pass on your position to the incoming officer who maybe will be starting in January. These are all things you can write down and keep track of. We're also going to be sending this webinar recording to you guys, so you can always refer back to it or find it in our help center. And then for today's presenters, my name is Hannah Gunderson, and I'm going to be leading today's webinar. And then with me, I have Sarah Beth Russell. She is going to be monitoring the questions in the question chat. So you guys should all see that on your screen. You can submit questions throughout the webinar. They won't be shown to everybody, so don't be afraid to submit a question. If it's something that maybe is specific to your chapter and we don't need to answer in front of everyone, Sarah Beth will just go ahead and give you that answer. But if it's something we think will be useful for everybody to hear, we'll go over those at the end. So Sarah Beth will read them out, and then I'll go ahead and show you the answer, or maybe Sarah Beth will just give the answer depending on what the question is. But that's how that will work. And then going over one more slide to today's agenda. Like I said, it's going to be super quick. So we're just starting with the LegFi walkthrough, and then we're going to have a Q&A session. And then I have a couple reminders in our contact information. It all should be pretty straightforward and easy to follow. So let me go ahead and switch my screen so we can get started with that walkthrough. Okay, everybody should be looking at LegFi now. So the first thing I just wanted to show you guys is the dashboard. Now this may seem self-explanatory, but we've just heard from new officers in the past that this can be a little bit confusing. So just as a quick overview of what all this is going to be pulling data from all of these tabs over off on the left, and it's going to kind of compile it. So it's like a really quick and easy overview for you guys to go over. So starting up here where it says total outstanding, past due, current, and future, this is going to be referring to invoices. So any invoices you add under this invoice tab, and I'll show you that a little bit later in the webinar, it's going to pull that data over here. So total outstanding is going to include anything that's not paid. So even if it's going to be the current section, it will go into this total outstanding. So if maybe there was $1,000 in current, it would say $5,000 or $5,092, excuse me. It'll also pull in those future and past due. So it's going to add these three numbers together, put it as a total outstanding. But if you want to see that broken up, it'll be broken up here. And then this graph isn't really the best example right now, just because everything's past due. This is a test account we have for our payables tab. But if you had, some current invoices that are, live right now, but not past due or anything scheduled for the future, you would see those different colors in here. And when you hovered over, it would again give you those totals that match up with over here. The next thing on your dashboard is going to be this members section. Now, some of you may have a little bit different of a view. Here, instead of members, it may say invoices. So if your chapter has a headquarters that also uses LegFi, they may be billing you their headquarter invoices through LegFi. So if you owe, national dues or insurance or any of those things, those new member fees that you pay on behalf of your chapter to your headquarters, those will show up here. And in that case, the member section is going to be way down on the bottom of your dashboard. But since this one is a test account and there's no headquarter linked, we have the members up at the top. So here you can see the total number of members, and you can see how many are archived. This is definitely something you're going to want to keep up with, just because this is how we're going to determine what your LegFi subscription fee is. So I think everybody should be on like a per member fee, or most everybody is on a per member fee. So what will happen is, each month when you guys are paying that, we'll see how many active or total members you have. And so for this account, we would charge them for 21 members. So whatever that subscription fee is times 21 is what you're going to be charged on your billing date. Down here is going to be your cash flow. So this is just going to show the money that you guys have coming in and going out. So this is going to be pulling numbers from your payments, from your transactions, all of that. So if you have an external bank account linked to LegFi, it's going to be pulling information in from that as well. So if you have, you're spending money on your debit card for external bank account, the expenses will import here and show on this graph. Same if you're using the payable. So you're spending money within LegFi or through LegFi's bill pay service, it's going to add those all together and be on this cash flow summary. Down here is invoices, so you can see it month by month. It starts off as um, this gray bar graph. So that's going to be everything that you invoiced your members for the month. So for this chapter, they invoiced $4,000, and you can see they collected 150 so far. So hopefully, as you guys are looking at yours, like this one is from July, hopefully this bar would be completely green or almost completely green, which means your members have paid their invoices that you've sent them. You can also use these little drop downs to change the time frame that you want to look at those. If you wanted this smaller, you could do 6 months and see it that way. Down here are going to be member payments. So just a really quick overview, if you wanted to, when you logged into LegFi, maybe Hope had been saying that she was going to pay her due. She's a little bit past due. Instead of having to go to her account and try to see if she made a payment, you could just go down here to member payments really quickly, overview, and see if she submitted that payment or not. And then over here is going to be all of your bank accounts, and you can kind of see well, it's going to be bank and treasury accounts. So the treasury accounts are your bank accounts that are within LegFi, and then these ones down here, your external ones. External bank accounts, we don't have a total for how much is in it just because it's outside of LegFi. But for your treasury accounts that are within LegFi, you'll have the totals listed right there. So again, you can get a quick overview of kind of how much money you guys have in your accounts. The next thing I want to show you, so again, thinking like if you're new to LegFi, this maybe is one of your first webinars, or if you're an incoming officer, the first thing you're going to want to do when you log in is actually go to this settings icon, and you just want to review your chapter's information. I'm assuming when your account was set up, it should be all correct, or the outgoing officer should know this is correct, but it's always good just to review it. So here you're just going to confirm that your website's still the same. So if you made a new website, you'll want to update it. You can set your time zone, your organization email. This is one that probably will be updated more than other fields on this page, just because some chapters don't have, a passed down email address. So maybe your treasurer or your president has an email address and it passes down. It doesn't just belong to yourself. So it's not going to be like Hannah Gunderson at OmegaFi, it would be like treasurer at OmegaFi. If that's the case, it'll probably be the same. But if you don't have one of those, and let's say it was like Hannah Gunderson at OmegaFi or Get Started at OmegaFi, you're going to want to have to update that to the new officer. So if you're going to be the new person who's going to be really managing LegFi for your chapter, you'll want to update that as an organization email just so we know who the right person is to contact for your chapter. Other optional fields will be phone numbers. If we ever had to call, we don't really call, but in the off chance, or that way your members could have a phone number to call you. And then down here, mailing address, you'll want to update these if your chapter house moves. So I know sometimes, like where I went to school, there wasn't a lot of houses in Greek Village. So, a lot of fraternities and sororities are kind of going in and out of houses. If you've moved out of your house or you got a new house or whatever it may be, you'll want to update that mailing address. The only thing I want to give you a little heads up for is if you update this, sometimes it will make you re-verify your treasury account or bank account, just because those are going to, when you verify your account that your organization is who they say they are, that you can have money moving in and out of these accounts, you're going to want to, or when you update this, it's going to make you re-verify to make sure that you're still who you say you are. Down here, we also have your accounting information. So you can't change the accounting type, but you can change when your fiscal year starts. And that's just going to be helpful when you're going under this finances tab. When it comes time for tax season, which for a lot of us is right now, when you download those reports, that way it'll automatically filter to your fiscal year. So if you start in January, it'll have your report start in January. If you're somebody who starts, July 1st, then your reports will start July 1st. You can edit the reports, but it's just an easy default to have set. And then something a little fun, organization logo. So ours, obviously, we're going to leave as LegFi because we are a MegaFi. But for your organization, you can put in the one that your headquarters uses, or if you have a custom one for your chapter, you can put that in and it'll update this logo up here for you guys. Once you're done with updating all those settings, you're going to click Update Settings and it'll save. And then you're good to go with confirming that this page, the organization information, is correct. The next thing I'm just going to have you double check is this billing page. So this is where you're going to be able to see your subscription fee. Now, since this is a test account, we have it set to $0 a year just because we can't charge ourselves for our test account. But y'all's will have what your actual subscription fee that you guys signed your contract for. It'll be listed here. It'll have the last day that you paid your bill and then the next billing date. So Since this one's this is set to 1/1 of 2025, but yours will probably be set monthly. So it'll show the next time we're going to draft your account. And again, it's going to base that off of however many active members you have that showed on the dashboard. Where that will pay from is whatever you choose to be your payment method. So if you want to pay your subscription fee from your operating account, which would be something this account has it set up within LegFi as a treasury account, you could do it that way. If you wanted it to be an external bank account, you could click that. If you wanted to add a new card, so you wanted, instead of it being like from your bank account, you wanted it to charge your debit card or whatever, you could put in a new credit card. You have all these options here and you can set it. If you don't set this field, it's not gonna save you from having to pay your subscription fee. It's just gonna make us default to whatever account you added first. So if you added the operating account first, that's where we're gonna pull your payment from, just because we have to collect our money each month, but you do have the option to choose where that comes from. So if this was set to it, the default would be like select one, then we're just going to choose the first one, but you guys can go in here and set it. And once you set it once, it'll stay like that until you update it. If you were to change this, like if you change it to this treasury account, you would just click make default payment and it's going to update it for you. And then just one more thing I'll show you on this page, you can see the history of your subscription down here. So these, since this is a payables test account, which is our bill pay tab right here, what's showing here are them doing overnight payments, stop payments, like those added extra fees. Payables is no extra charge, but if you're going to be doing overnight payments, you do have to pay like that little surge fee. It'll show up here, but also down here is going to be where your subscription fee is. So if you're paying monthly, you'll see down here that you paid maybe like $100 or $500. I don't know. Chapter sizes really vary. So people's subscription fees obviously vary. Some people are paying for 10 members. Some people are paying for 200 members. So whatever it would be monthly will show up here. You can click details and get more information, but it's all super transparent, where your money's being pulled from to pay this fee, and also the history of your payments and when you'll be paying next. That is all I have for the settings icon. Now that that's done, I'm going to switch over to the members tab. So this is going to be the next step that you probably really will need to be familiar with. The next tab when you're a new officer, this is where you're going to review your roster. So if looking at the dashboard, you're thinking, my members totals, oh, this is what I was talking about. So if you updated your address, it's going to make you re-verify your account. So if this was the case, you'd get this pop up, you just click this link right here, it'll let you re-verify. So it's actually a good example. But going back here, if you're looking at this numbers and you're saying 21 is definitely not right, like we have maybe 31, maybe you didn't add, your 10 new members from the semester, the previous officer didn't do it. Under the members tab, you'll be able to add those. So you'll just click this blue add members button and you have the option to do it in mass. So if you have multiple, I would download this sample file. It has all the columns that you can import and you'll just fill in the blanks under them. So the only ones that are required are going to be, their first name, last name, email, and membership type. So if it's a new member, initiated member, whatever that is, you'll have to fill in those fields. The rest of them are optional. The more information, the better. Again, so you have information on your members. If you're importing, their phone numbers, then you'll be able to use other tools under communication, like the mass text tool or things like that. So the more information you put in, the better. Another thing I'll say is if you have members who want their parents to help them pay on their accounts, you're going to want to add the parent email under auxiliary email. So this could be in that spreadsheet, or you can do it as a single member. So you can see first name, middle name, last name. The ones that are required have this little asterisk here. And then down here, you'll see they have an email and then auxiliary email. So these auxiliary emails could be an alternate email for the members. Maybe they want to add their school email in addition to their personal email. But like I said, it could also be parents. And what's going to happen with these is anytime they get their invoices mailed to them or emailed to them, it's going to go to their primary email, but it's also going to go to these auxiliary emails. So this is a really great tool for your members who are going to have parents helping them pay. They don't have like a separate parent account or parent login. They're just going to be getting the invoices in their email, and those invoices, I'll show you in a second, have a link that they can click to check out as a guest and pay their child or grandchild's dues. So you'll have them fill in that auxiliary email there. And then once you're done filling in all of this information, you'll be able to click Save Member, and it's going to add them to your roster. So again, you'll see them here. Now, if you're going through this, and maybe let's say on the homepage you saw you had 21 members, but you know you only have 15, maybe you have extra members on here that no longer owe you guys money, but you don't want to be paying for them. What you'll do is just write down their first and last name for us. If it's somebody who has, maybe it's a common name, like if it's I don't know, like a Katie Martin or a John Smith, where you maybe have a couple of them in your chapter, include their email as well, just so we know which one you're talking about. But you're just going to email software support at omegafy.com and request that they be taken off your roster, and we'll go ahead and archive them for you. Once they're archived, they're going to show up under this archive members. So these are members you do not have to, you're no longer paying for. They just used to have LegFi accounts. That way you still have the history, but you don't need to be paying monthly subscription fees. And you'll see these ones say do not use again. This is just a test account. So I'm sure there's a bunch of John Royers if I scroll down. Yeah, you could see a few of them here, but those would be the archived ones. And then all of your active members will be here. You can also click these tabs or column headers, I should say, and it'll organize. So if you do it this way, it's going to organize it by membership type. You can do it by login. This is going to be a really helpful column, especially if you're importing new members. So if you have any COB members or people who are going to be joining spring recruitment, you want to make sure they log into LegFi so they know they can pay their dues. This is a great way to check it. So you can easily just click this, and all these people who said never, you can either click these three dots here and you can resend their invitation to create their account, or you could just send them a text, or if you see them at your house or chapter or whatever, say like, hey, just as a reminder, Heather, can you please like log into your account? We just want to make sure that everything looks good for you. So that'll be a useful tool. The next thing I'm going to show you on this same page is going to be updating user permissions. So you can see here, we have a few different permission types. So we have admin. That's going to mean they can see all of these tabs here and they can edit. So I'm assuming if you're in this webinar, you are an admin for your chapter. I think we only invited admins to this webinar. So you'll have access to all these tabs over here. You can add members, invoices, payments, all of those things. If you're just listed as a user, you're not going to see any of these tabs. You're basically just going to see your own profile. So you're going to log into your account and it's just going to show you like your personal dashboard. So what you've been invoiced, you can pay your dues. It'll be set up like that. And then these ones that are custom means you chose what this member could see out of these tabs over here. So maybe they can only see the invoices and payments tab, but they can't see the rest of these. Only these tabs are going to show up on their LegFi account and they could click into them and view them. You can also choose if they can edit on those tabs or if they can only read. So if they can edit and they have edit access to the invoice tab, they'll be able to invoice your members. But if they have access to the invoice tab only as read, they're only going to be able to see what was invoiced, but they're not going to be able to add any invoices. So to edit those permissions, all you have to do is click these three dots here, and then you click permissions and you can see all of the different options here. Now, if we click admin status, it will automatically check all these boxes. So it's kind of a quick shortcut for you. But if they're not going to be a full admin, generally that's like maybe certain advisors or the treasurer, the president, maybe it's just somebody who is going to need access to crowdfunding because they're the social chair or the VP of, I don't know, events, or every chapter has kind of different lingo. But if they only needed access to that page, then you could do a custom for them and you would be able to click edit. And then now they'll be able to add events. So they'll be able to set up an event page where they can create tickets, or they could set up a fundraiser. Also under crowdfunding would be great for your t-shirt chairs. There's a merchandise option, so you would give them edit. I will note, you may notice here that this does not let you just click it to be read. That's because crowdfunding is actually one of the tabs that's viewable to all your members. And that's because if you have events or fundraisers or t-shirts set up, that's where your members could go in to buy tickets, donate, buy their t-shirts. So everybody will be able to read that page, go look at it, but they won't be able to edit it. Oh, excuse me, my dog's barking. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. I think somebody the mailman may be coming. But that's how you can edit those permissions. Another thing I'm going to show you, a quicker way, is going to be under the settings icon again. So just give me 1 second. Okay, here under the permissions, this is just another way to view it. So it's kind of a faster way. So if you're in officer transitions and you want to get rid of maybe all of the old admin because they're outgoing officers, a really fast way to do it would be going to this page, clicking permissions, and then you would just check these sliders. Now, I'm not going to do it because these are all people who work with me at a LegFi, and they do need access to this test account. But for your chapter, you'll just be able to click this button here and it'll remove it. If these are going to be the new admin, you can just click the slider and it's going to quickly give them permissions to all the modules, or you can click this edit button and again, it's going to show you this pop-up. So this would be a faster way to do it if you want to do things in mass. I would do it this way instead of scrolling through all this and then having to click the three dots every single time. The last thing I'm going to show you on this members tab is also going to be the contacts. So it's very similar to adding members, but instead of a member, a contact, you're not going to be charged for them, and that's because you can't bill them. So this is going to be advisors. If you have accountants that maybe need access to LegFi so they can pull reports to file y'all's taxes, or maybe on this webinar, maybe you're the person who's keeping up with the chapter, all the undergraduate members. This is where you'll be added. Again, we're not going to charge you for contacts. So if someone's added as a contact, you won't be able to ever invoice them, but they will be able to invoice others. So they'll have access to these tabs. You just click this add contact button and it's going to be very similar to adding a member. The fields are just a little bit different, but again, just fill out all these required fields. Once you're done, you'll click save contact. And if you give them permissions under the actions, it'll have the same three dots. They'll be able to see all of these tabs over here or whatever tabs you choose them that you decide they're allowed to see. The next thing I'm now going to show you guys is under the financial accounts. So if you're not a new chapter, this is probably set up for you guys, and there's not going to be much for you to do here, but it's good just to look at one more time. This is where you're going to make sure that all of your chapters' external bank accounts are linked, and also your treasury accounts are here. So you're going to go through these, make sure these are all active accounts, make sure they're all verified. So you can see this one is missing that verification because we had, I think, previously edited the address in a different webinar, so it makes us re-verify it. So you would click this if that's not done, and you're just going to make sure all of this stuff is checked for verified for deposits and for payments. If you need to add an external bank account, you'll just click this button here, and it's going to let you either search for it, or you can add it manually by clicking that button. If you wanted to add another treasury account, so maybe you're an incoming officer or you're just kind of wanting to change how things are organized, maybe you're switching from doing a lot in an external bank account into doing a lot of these bank accounts within treasury, you can add more. Some chapters will add one for each of their officer positions. You can have an unlimited number of treasury accounts, so it's a good way to divvy up your budget. You could add those here, and you can also add cards. So since these are bank accounts that are just done through Treasury, you can add debit cards to them by clicking the three dots here, and then you'll click Treasury Cards. And then you'll just click Add Card Holder. So you'll be able to choose the member, card type, and all those payment limitations. I'm not going to go much more over this because I think that'd be more of an advanced webinar, but just to get you set up, that is where you guys would link your bank accounts and those treasury cards. So the next thing I'm going to show you is adding invoices. If you want to invoice your members, you do have to have an account set up. So either an external bank account or a treasury account. So you can go here to invoices once that's set up. And all you're going to do is click this create new invoice button. So this is where you're going to charge your members, and this is how you're going to actually make money on LegFi from your members. So when you go here, you'll click that add invoice button, and then you're just going to go and select the members you want to invoice. So if it's for your entire chapter, there's a really easy button you can click. It's just this add all button. Or if you want to do it by these different groups or membership types, you have all these different filters you can choose from up here. So maybe you only want to charge new members. You would click new members, and then we'll click add all, and it's going to add those 3 new members for you. And then you just scroll down here and you click add charge. So once you're here, you're going to fill in all the blanks. Now I won't make you watch it because I think it would be a little bit boring to make a new charge and make you guys watch that. But you can also copy past charges. So that's just what I'm going to do to make this webinar a little bit faster. So it kind of auto fills these things in. And then we'll click save charge. And you'll be able to add all of those. So if you're adding new member fees, PIN fees, chapter dues, you can add all those at once. And then once you're done, you can scroll down here and preview the invoice. So if I click preview invoice, this is the email that's going to go to that main email address and also the auxiliary email addresses. So if you remember before I said there's no like separate parent login, what they're going to do is since they're an auxiliary email, they'll get this email and they're just going to click this continue as guest button. All of these emails have like different like custom URLs. So when they click that, it's automatically going to connect it to that member's account. So you don't have to click continue as guest and then try to find an account number to make a payment. You can click continue as guest, and let's see which one. This is for Jen Haddon. So if it was for, Jen's mom got this and wanted to pay it for her, when she clicks continue as guest, her payment's automatically going to link to Jen's account. And she'll be able to choose to pay this invoice. If there's multiple invoices, she could select to pay all of them at once, or she could just pay whichever ones that were like relevant at the time. So maybe only this one was due, and on her account she also had rent coming up in a month. Jen's mom could choose just to pay the $2 and then pay rent at a later time. So that will be something that's customizable for them. If that invoice preview looks good, you'll just click send invoice and it's going to add it to all their accounts. And then you'll see here you get this little green pop-up that lets you know that that was successful, but it does take a few minutes. So if you add it and we went to Jen's account right now, it's not going to be on there for another few minutes just because it takes a second to load. But just know that those will be coming. So as you start refreshing your page, or maybe you're going to do other things within LegFi, whenever you come back here to outstanding, they're going to start showing up. And I think it's not going to show up now. Yeah, it really will take a few minutes. So that's a quick way to add invoices. There are a lot more features that you can do within invoices, like payment plans and different things like that. But again, this is just a basics webinar, like LegFi 101. So we won't get into that today. But if you did want more information on like setting up payment plans or recurring invoices and all of that, I'll just have you click this little question mark icon and you can go under invoices or any of the other tabs and kind of learn more of like the different features that we have. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you today, just really quick, is this payments tab. This is where all of your member payments are going to show up. So again, it'll import to the dashboard, but if you want more information, you can go down here. We try to keep things super transparent in LegFi, so you'll see the member payment, you'll see if any fees came out of it. So there are, like those card processing fees, they don't go to us, they don't go to y'all, they go to the card processor. So it'll show you, if it was a $100 payment, then the fee for the card processor would come out here, and then it would show you the net amount you kept. Now, since this was a credit, it's not going to have anything coming out, but if this was like an actual payment, you would see the net amount would be a little less than their payment. And again, it's just showing you that those card processing fees came out. If you had a member who paid you directly and didn't pay, their account through LegFi, just one more thing I want to show you in this webinar is how to record a payment. Even if it didn't go through LegFi, you always want to record these payments just so their account actually stays up to date. Otherwise, they're going to keep getting emails asking them to pay their invoice, even though they've already paid. It's also going to throw off your reporting. It's going to throw off that dashboard. It'll say you have a bunch of outstanding invoices when you don't. So you always want to add these payments. And what you'll do is select the payer. So whoever paid you, if it was Carrie, you put her name, the amount. Let's say maybe she paid $10. You could add a note. So if you wanted to say maybe how you got it, maybe, Carrie Venmoed me, or Carrie gave me $10, or whatever it is, you can add a note, and then the payment method you would choose. So if it was Venmo, I'd probably choose like offline cash, and then I would click submit payments. And now it's going to record on here that she made a payment. This again may take a second to load just because we just added it, but eventually that's going to pull up on here, and then you'll see it pull into your dashboard. It'll also like reflect on her account that she made a payment. So that is all I have for today's webinar. Like I said, it would be pretty quick, but I'm going to now pass it to Sarah Beth to see if y'all had any questions that came up during the webinar.
Again, we do not currently have any questions out there.
Okay, perfect. Then I'm going to switch it back to the PowerPoint real quick, so I have a couple reminders and that contact information for you guys. Before I do that, though, I know I just showed you, but again, if you need any help within the LegFi app, you can always click this little question mark icon. It'll go to our help center, and we have it organized by tabs. You can also choose the support button, and you can type in what you want help with. So let's say you needed help with invoices. Oops, probably help if I spelled that right. We can search that, and then it's going to pull articles, and you can, instead of having to go to the help center, it'll pull them right here in app. So we could, click this button, scroll down here, you can read the help article, and that way you're still on the LegFi page. I think this is really helpful. We have some articles that have steps that will like walk you through things. So this is a really great way for you to be able to like see the instructions right next to the page that you're doing it on. Okay, let me switch now my screen. Okay, here we go. So these are just the only reminders I have. They are for 990 filing. Now, if your fiscal year end was June 30th, you are a little bit late, but you still need to file it regardless if it's late or not. So if that's you, make sure you submit your 990 ASAP. We do have a tax filing service. You don't have to use it, but if you want our help, you can email 990@omegafy.com, and our tax team will be able to work with you to help you get your chapters taxes filed. Also, if you have a fiscal year end of July 31st, then you have until December 15th to do that. So again, if you want to use our tax filing services, I would definitely submit that ASAP, just because you want to give our team enough time to file all of that for you, go through your information, ask you questions if they have any. That will all be available to you. And then the next slide I want to show you is just our contact information. So again, you have that in-app help that I just showed you that's available 24/7. But if you need like an actual person to help you walk through something, or like I said, if you needed to archive members, you're going to use this email address right here. So that's softwaresupport@omegafy.com. We have like a dedicated LegFi team who will help you there. They also can help with like login issues. So if you have members who can't log into their account, they can email that softwaresupport@omegafy.com email, and it'll filter over to our login team. So that is something that both you and your members can use if they're having problems with their account. So definitely screenshot that, write it down, take a picture, whatever it is, so you have that on hand in case you guys ever need it. And then it looks like, did one question come in, Sarah Beth, or no? I don't want to end it if we did have one.
We have a question about who can we speak to about errors. So I'm assuming that's like an error message that you're maybe getting in the system.
Yes, in that case, then we're on the perfect slide for it. It would be software support@omegafy.com. So that team, the emails, I don't know how they have it set up. It's like pretty smart, but it'll filter it to the correct team. So if it's just general LegFi help, like officers needing it, it'll go to the LegFi team. If it's errors, there's like a software support team who can help open a Jira ticket if needed, or maybe there's just like a setting that needs to be set on your account, whatever it is, it'll go to them. So I would just email it with a screenshot to softwaresupport@omegafy.com, and they'll be able to help you. Any other questions?
I think that's all of them, Hannah.
Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me today. And if anything comes up, use this little help email right here. But if not, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.